Hi and welcome to another video. In fact, this is the first of a two-part video on how to set up the Aerophone with the SWAM Violin. The SWAM Violin was developed by Stefano Leccato and Emanuele Peravicini. I hope I've pronounced those correctly. In partnership with the guys at Sample Modelling. Now, the Sample Modelling sounds I've been using for many years now professionally. In fact, I have all of their sounds. They always set them up really beautifully and they work very well straight out the box with wind synthesizers in general. But to make them work really to their best with the Aerophone, I'm going to make a few suggestions about how we actually set up to make them play. And of course, the sample modelling instruments will all work through a host software, anything like Logic, or if you have something like Cubase on a PC or GarageBand on a Mac. I'll show you in part 2 of this video exactly what I do on the computer side. But first, let's look at how we do a few changes on the settings for the Aerophone to get the best control. So here we are looking at the menu on the Aerophone, and the first thing I'm going to suggest is that you select program 028. This is the violin sound for the internal sound on the Aerophone. This doesn't make a great deal of difference, but it's just going to save us a little bit of time in setting up a good patch to control the SWAM Violin. Now press the menu key. And some of these settings are not really going to make any difference to us at all, but we'll go through them anyway. So the volume control only makes a difference to the internal sound, so this is not of interest to us at the moment, and the tuning is the same. I have my breath sensitivity on H2, that's the way I like it, yours might be different. The transposition can stay where it is because a violin is in concert pitch, and the octave is set in a good place here at 0 as well. Now the reverb and the chorus and the multi-effects, they're not going to make any difference to the external sounds. They're only for internal sounds. So don't worry about any of those. Your vibrato settings you will have set for yourself. We've done other videos on those settings for you already. But the first thing of interest to us is how we're going to use the thumb lever on the Aerophone. Now this is where the Aerophone has some advantage over the other wind synthesizers because of the way we can program the thumb lever to do various things for us. And here I'm setting up the left control. That means when I press the thumb lever over to the left, what does it actually do to the external sound in this case? So what we're going to do here is we're going to press the menu button so that we can control and change this value, and we're going to move this on down to CC5. What I'm going to use this for on the SWAM Violin is control the portamento sound. That's the slurring between notes, which is so expressive on a violin and a really important part of the sound. So set this to 5, go back up and move the arrow over the minimum and maximum. You can leave those as they are because we're going to control the value of this from the software in the second video. And the toggle switch I would turn off. What the toggle switch does is if you have the toggle switch to be on, whenever you move the lever across, it's going to keep sending that information out until you move the lever across again. And I prefer it to be what we call a momentary switch. So it's only on when you're pressing the lever over to the left. So in this case now, when I move the thumb lever over to the left-hand side, it's going to cause that sound to slur or portamento from one note to the other. So toggle is off. Now, carrying on the right-hand thumb, at the moment you can see it's set to 65. I'm going to suggest we set this to 64. What this is going to do is control the possibility of playing two strings at the same time. Now, you could use this for other things, and we could take a different value here. We'll see in the second video just what we could do with this second direction. This is going over to the right hand side, but I'm going to use it for double stopping because I think it's a fantastic effect. Again, leave the minimum and maximum exactly how they are. And the toggle switch is already set to off on this side, so that's how I would prefer to have it. Now, the octave setting, I prefer to have it on 3 octaves. Again, that's a personal taste thing, but of course the violin has a huge range. So if we're wanting to get up to the very highest notes, you might want to take this to 3 octaves. And it's worth just checking that you've got the, this one, the breath out. Just make sure that's set to CC2. It should be set to CC2 already. And the breath out at 2, that can stay off. And that's it for the settings. So now what we have to do is make sure we save this voice into one of our user programs so that we can quickly recall those settings. Because if you turn the instrument off now, or if you change the voice setting now, you'll lose those settings that we've just done. So here we go. We're going to press and hold down the menu key. And here it's asking us, which memory slot do we want to write this information to? Now I'm going to put this out on memory slot 10. Okay, and if I press menu again, now it's giving me the option to change the name of this. Now, because we started on the violin sound, it's already called violin. If you wanted to go along here and add a few extra letters to make sure you've got something that says something different to the internal sound, well, you can set that to do whatever you want. And then when we press menu again, it's going to say, are you sure? Do you want to write this to the internal memory? Yes, we do. And now it's done. So there we have the settings already done for the Aerophone. Now please look at the second video and see how we deal with the setup on the computer side.